Hey folks, we're live. It is the Thursday night forum, and I formally open the session here. This is Arsenal Fan Circle. I got two up top here, Tony Turner and Alonso, and two at the back. We're playing just two at the back today, Sam and Gary.
Who's Luis?
How are we all doing?
All right.
Good. Yeah, good.
Pretty good, man. Just hanging out.
Yes, enjoying myself.
All right, so Gary, I'll let you start off. Your overall thoughts of the game. For me, I was just saying we'll take the point. It's not a great one. We had 14 of these draws last season, and we take it, we move on. Forget about the game because it was a forgettable game, right?
Very forgettable.
Yep. They're very forgettable. I mean, I just feel like we've seen this before, right? We've seen these types of games before. I mean, we can't get anything in terms of shots on goal. We lose the ball. The shots we do get are like, they're like there's nothing behind them. They just catch them. I mean, everything about this was just kind of a revert back, which I think is expected. No, I didn't think it was expected because of just one player. I mean, we were only missing one player, and look at what happened. I mean, Kearney's out. We've got nothing up the wings, right? The wing backs presented nothing for us today. It was a bad game, and I think unless we have all of our major pieces in the game, I feel like we're going to struggle. And if we miss them as we go through the rest of this season, they were in trouble because the youngsters can only do so much, and they need a little bit of support. And today, we saw what happens when they don't get that. I mean, they look like young players out there, and the old players can't bring them along and help them along. Pick them up when they fall down, kind of thing. So it was a disappointing game. But I think this isn't the first time we played a low block. So this can't be the first time that we struggle against a low block because we keep seeing it and we're going to keep seeing it until we can fix it and figure out how to break it down and actually put something together. The one thing that I'll say, the one word or the one phrase that I noticed when I we watched the first half, one touch. One touch. Whenever we made one touch passes, good things happen. Yeah. Every time we sat on the ball, touch, everything just basically collapsed. So when we one-touched the ball, we looked good. And that comes with preparation before the ball comes to you, right? When we did that, or when we just got rid of the ball early, a lot of times it was for good things. When we sat on it, bad things happened. That's kind of what it looked like today. So I'm just going to say I feel like it was kind of reverted back a little bit, and I think that's going to happen. So part of me is upset that it happened. Part of me shouldn't be because this is who we are. But we're in, I think our margins are small, and we always get presented. It always comes back. It always raises its head when we least expect it. We were expecting to see something good today, and we didn't. And not having players 100% is the problem. So, yeah, that's kind of what I saw today. I could be upset about it. Am I echoing? Is that me?
Yeah, you can either be upset about it. Of course, you can be upset about it, or you can take the point and move on. Let's be pragmatic about it. Shout out to the wife who's in the chats there first thing. Gary, welcome to the show, and Steve Dedham, good to see you back. We were worried about you, buddy, and Tony was as well. And
that's why I got the light straight out of my head, worrying about Steve.
You see that flash of light there. Going all the way towards Tony's cranium there. So he's going to be inspired tonight, Sam. He's going to be inspired, Tony is, with some great nominations for the Don Juan Man of the Match. Maybe.
Maybe.
You know what? You don't have no. You know what? No.
Gary,
he's not on the list. So yeah, I mean. Okay, one thing on that before I let it go. Sorry. When I don't notice Jacques and Bellerin on the field, and when I do recognize Bellerin and Xhaka on the field. That's it. So just take that for what you will, and then you should be able to figure out what I mean.
Yeah.
Today we saw a lot of Bellerin, we saw a lot of Xhaka. Xhaka actually was good, but there was also the form of the play. Whereas the previous couple of games, Xhaka was on the field. I personally I didn't notice him out there as much because I think there was a lot of good things happening around. So I don't know, is it the team? Is Newcastle better than all the three teams we played beforehand? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Crystal Palace represent a step up. I want to shout out the Assemble for joining us and Norma as well. Stephen Denham said we knew it was going to be a game where we get a point or mess it up and drop all three. Norma said, this is why I don't trust Arteta. This is a reality check that we are a mid-table team until Arteta leaves and the squad gets more depth. Sam, we did this a couple of weeks ago where I said, are we a better team than Fulham? And we went all the way up the table. I think we kind of hesitated around the 8th, 9th, or 10th spot. This is the area where we probably will settle at the end of the season. And to Gary's point, when we start diluting our depth, we're not able to put the same product, the same amount of effort on the field.
No, I mean, I said back when we were getting the good result the last 3 games, and we've got decent results. I said, listen, don't get gassed about it. Don't get carried away, because we've got to see what happens. When with the next steps, when all the players are fit. I mean, I know we had problems today with a couple of players not being fit, but when all of the players are sort of being available there for Arteta to choose, and we've got to see, how he chooses them, how he lines up, and how we play it. Because I mean, we played Chelsea as a good result, but Chelsea, I mean, we got to be honest, they weren't very good. And then we're playing 2 teams that aren't really very good, and we beat them. And we play. And our last game against West Brom was a good game. We played well. Which is probably our first good game since Fulham. But when this is again, this is when we play teams that are very good in midfield and very good at defending, like what Crystal Palace really are. Like Gary said, when we play a low blocker, a team that's good at defending the ball, we struggle. And this is something that we at this juncture now, for Arteta, it shouldn't be a struggle. That is one of the points of criticism I have with Arteta still, is that he still doesn't seem to be able to figure out how to unlock the very important door we need to open, and that is to play against teams that are letting us have the majority of possession, controlling the play of the game, and having to break them down. We struggle to do it. We can't do it. We create very few chances. Like Gary says, we spend far too much time individually on the ball. There's no. We started off very well today for the first 20 minutes, but then we stopped. That's what I couldn't figure out. Yeah. The first 20 minutes we were playing direct, just a few touches, like 1 or 2 touches. And it was very, very effective. We were actually creating some half-decent chances. We were terrible again in the final third. That's where we keep breaking down in the final third. But we were getting up to the final third really well and breaking them down quite easily. This is the first 20 minutes. And then it all just stopped. It's like, something happened, and I don't know what happened, but it just stopped from there and just really flattened out. And this is what's worrying. This is a trend that's been going on all season. And it doesn't seem to be changing. And even now, we're using the players that are playing better. As soon as you put in a couple of the players again that aren't playing well, like Aubameyang, it just stops. And of course today it didn't help with our left side. We basically had no left side today, with Aubameyang and Maitland-Niles completely out of position and not really able to play effectively in that position today. Him and Aubameyang were just terrible on that left-hand side. So, that was a handicap for us as well. That didn't help. So, without Tierney, without Martinelli on that left-hand side, it's a big miss. It really is, and it's
No
very very
balance.
important.
Yeah.
And
No
so
balance.
so we got. I'm worried, guys. I'm worried because without Tierney, without Martinelli, our left hand side, we don't have any other options there on the left hand side, maybe apart from Cedric to shoehorn him in there. It's not going to be easy to play against teams that they're going to be defending well and not giving us chances.
Yeah, definitely. You raised some very, very good points. So we're talking about depth and we're talking about balance. And from going from Arsenal being very, very strong last season on the left, we had Saka playing left back, Martinelli last season, and Aubameyang firing. We were very strong down the left-hand side. Now, Saka has rightly, I think Arteta, whether he stumbled across it or not, he's found Saka to play very, very well on the right-hand side. But because of Tierney, we saw in the FA Cup game how gassed he was toward the end of the game. Tierney, he needs this rest. Pablo Murray needed this rest, and Norma said, Arsenal are cheap and skinned when they don't play Murray, because if he played, Arsenal would have to pay Corinthians £1 million for the amount of games played.
No, that's not correct.
Well, it is correct in terms of the amount of games. It may not be correct that he didn't play because of that.
They're not going to stop him playing for £1 million. We're Arsenal Football Club. We're not Shrewsbury Town.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I believe he was. He could have been hurt because he is coming back. That's part of our problem, right? A lot of the players that we depend on outside of Saka have not been regulars for us, right? Or have had injury or have had injury issues in the past, right? Tierney. Stan's comment right there about we're dependent on a 23-year-old left back, but in reality, we're dependent on a lot of players 23 to 19 right now. Those are the only reason why we had a 3-game run is because of those players, and that team makeup just doesn't work. It doesn't. You got to be 25 to 28. That's the range where you want your seasoned players, your regulars to be. Mm-hmm. If you look at any team out there, I kind of touched on this last time, but that's where a lot of the players are. We have one player in that range right now. So we don't have any players that have been playing for a while that are trending almost to where they're hitting their prime, right? A lot of these players that we got right now, they're not primed for Premier League. And the ones that are older, some of them seem like they're on their way, to the end of the line as far as
twilight of their careers.
So it's disappointing, but we shouldn't be surprised. That's the problem, right? We shouldn't be surprised because we know this coming in. We know we're young, and we can't play these guys all the time because they just can't. They won't hold up. And we keep seeing it, right? They keep dropping like flies for little things here and there, not even mere, but in warm-ups and all that thing. And that's to the physio. I'm sorry to say, but they've seen this over and over and over again. It's consistent, and we keep seeing the same things. These guys need to rest. We need to have depth, and we're going to have to play ugly to do it. And I think Tony's talked about going to 3 at the back. I think we're going to have to do that when we go to our second package, to our backups, because that's the only way we're going to be able to manage, I think.
Let me get to Alonso and then Tony. Alonso, what are your thoughts about today's 0-0 draw?
I thought that, I think it's just so weird how we could come off a high and beat Newcastle the way we did, and drawing against a pretty decent Crystal Palace team. But on paper, we're a more talented bunch than Crystal Palace, in my opinion. But in the past, they come out and they come out better than us for some reason. And I'm okay with the draw because we have a clean sheet, right? But going forward, it's just really weird how we can't score against teams like Crystal Palace. And it doesn't make sense on why, we don't use players in positions that they're best at. And I think that it's an issue of depth, Maitland Niles should never be a left back or right back. He should be in the midfield where he's his strong suits are. And yet Arteta poses an issue. And I think with Flores, he's capable, but he's not the best. You know what I'm saying? He's like a backup to what Arsenal has been in the past. And I think that with Ceballos, he's not what we thought he was or where he could be. And, you know, I'm not worried because, you know, it's just confusing on why we can't be better. And Arteta, if he wants to stay an Arsenal manager, he has to learn his team and learn his strengths, right? And so with Aubameyang, you know, you would think he would try it a bit harder going forward, or you know, I wish that Maitland Niles was more like a Tierney type where he could just strut the ball in and help out Aubameyang more or what have you. It's puzzling really.
Yeah, his Maitland-Niles delivery, Tony, was pretty bad today. And Stan said here, if we continue to play two players on the flank that are playing on a weaker foot, we'll get found out. Our play is becoming predictable. And Fulham set up with two banks of four, sort of smothered Emile Smith-Rowe out of it a little bit, and our creativity went down so much at halftime. We were leading all of the major statistics, except for shots on goal, which is one of the main ones. Crystal Palace having 9 shots, Tony, and we only had 2.
That's been our problem most of the season, is not getting enough shots off. We should be a team getting at least 20 shots off a game, and sometimes we're lucky to get 5 to 10, and it's just not good enough at all. Especially with our captain, he's been missing. I don't know why he's getting the start. I don't know why he's getting the armband. And I'll continue on what Stan said. Just all our play relies on the flanks. It doesn't matter if it's a strong or a weak foot. It's easy to shut us down after a while since we had nothing going down the middle at all.
And Tony, we've really seen what Arsenal looks like now without Kieran Tierney as our left back.
And Niles had a stinker today. They should have switched Saka back there quicker than they did. He just had a horrible. Niles had a horrible game. I don't know why. He's just pissed off because he hasn't been playing, or he's out of form because he hasn't been playing. He definitely had a stinker of a game.
Yeah. So, Gary, what are you going to remember from this game, if anything? At the end of the season, what's your takeaway?
For this season, we're already talking about the end of the season already.
No, when you look back, you're not going to look back at this game with fond memories, right?
No, I think this is we just don't have the depth that we need. I mean, that's been key from the get-go. We don't have the depth. We barely have a starting 11 right now.
Yeah,
we definitely don't have depth in enough in most of the. We have it at center back because we had 10 of them, and we've got 4 now. But
to varying degrees of proficiency.
But in other locations on the field, we don't have any depth, right? We don't have it at goalkeeper. We don't have it at a striker that's going to hold the ball up. We don't. Emile Smith-Rowe by himself. I mean, Saka, he had to go back and play right back or left back today? I think at one point, right? So, I mean, and Ainsley needs to play in a position where he can be successful, and I don't think it was at the left or right back today was going to help him out, right? I mean, he didn't look comfortable on the ball. He made so many loose passes that just,
he's not really left back, is he? That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's,
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, depth is an issue, and playing players out of position is the other. I mean,
Sam, is it becoming an issue now where we maybe have to look for a backup left back for Kieran Tierney?
I said it straight away. As soon as we were looking at getting rid of Kolasinac, I said, well, who are we going to have as the backup? Because obviously he doesn't want to use Cedric. We've seen that before.
Play there too.
Chambers is not a left back. Come on, he's not a left back. He struggles at
Okay.
right back.
An emergency left back, Tony.
You only play Chambers if you've got no one else left who can move, basically. I mean,
He's just trying to shoehorn Chambers into his side, you know.
he just wants Chambers to play. But anyway, I mean, when you're not playing Cedric, who apparently can actually play there, which I find really strange that he's not playing there. But okay, Arteta might have a reason. I don't know. There's a lot of things with Arteta. There's so many question marks, you know. That's another thing that bothers me with Arteta. There's so many questions and very few answers with all of his decisions, what he decides to do. And it's the sign of someone learning on the job. You know, they're an apprentice, an intern. You know, it's just not good enough.
But Sam, wouldn't we have accepted that for this season if he had gone and played all of the younger players that Arteta could learn this season as well?
I don't think the younger players are where we need them to be. Or
no,
actually, I think we're too young. To tell you the truth, we are too young. With a young coach who's not going to be able to get them to play in a certain way. We need more season. We need people that actually have played for a while. I believe, because he can't get the young players to. They can't play any. We can't push them anymore.
They can't play a full season.
Right, we can't push them anymore.
We can't play them every single game. No, obviously we can't. But we have to play them most games because they're the team. They're the players at the moment that are working for us. The combination in attack, the combination of Martinelli, Lacazette, Saka, and Smith Rowe. That combination is the combination that works for us at the moment. So we have to play that combination as much as we can. You know, and try and keep the players as fit as possible. But at the same time, I mean, looking at you know, like I said, why he decides to play Maitland-Niles in a left-back position. The guy's played there, once before? Mm-hmm. You know, and he's got Cedric who can play left-back. He's got Saka, who I know he's trying to think attacking-wise, which is okay. I can understand why he wanted Saka to play up front instead of at the back. But still, I would play a Saka at left back role or left wing back role ahead of Maitland-Niles. You know, Maitland-Niles just can't play that left side. You saw that Maitland-Niles struggled so much with his left foot, you know, at the left back position. So again, it's these decisions that it affects the way we play. I mean, it gave us a whole left side of the pitch where we were completely ineffective, and Crystal Palace had an easy job on their right hand side. You know, and it's decisions like that that are just it's amateurish. You know, it's like why are you doing this? You don't need to do it. Yeah. And it's something you know, we need to see Arteta address very quickly, because if he doesn't, if he keeps doing these types of decisions, and we can't figure out tactically how to play, you know, teams that line up with two banks of four. You know, we're going to have problems. We're going to struggle getting points again. You know,
yeah. You're both actually right, Gary and Sam. You're both actually right. We do need the young players to play in the first 11, but we can't let them play the whole season. We need depth, and we don't need young players as depth. We actually need older players as depth. It's kind of a
middle-aged.
Yeah, it's a backward situation. We need middle-aged players, Tony. 23 to 27-year-olds, something like that. I don't know
why we never sign them.
Well, you know why? Because they're not in our price range. Usually, they're in that 25 to $45 million range. We like to do the 50 or the $1 million range for some reason. It's like.
That is a good point, Gary. Usually, those kind of players have proven themselves in their leagues, in their respective leagues, and they're mainstays in their teams. And you have to pay a premium because they will have a resale value. Stan said, "Why did we buy Cedric?" They told us he was cover for either full-back position, but he's on the bench and right-footed. Ainsley Maitland-Niles plays. It's like he's playing FUT.
Ultimate team. You basically just put all your good players in any position basically to play. You know, that's basically what you do with that.
Yeah, but Ainsley can do that, but he can't do that for 90 minutes, right? There's certain places on the field where he's going to be more beneficial to you. It's like Saka can play. He played where he did today, and then he went to the back, but he didn't have to do that for the whole game, right? if he has to do that for the whole game, then he'll just wear down because he'll be sought out, be sussed out basically eventually. But for a short amount of time, he can play anywhere on the field, right, Saka? So this is and putting Saka, playing Saka as a wing back, right, on his off day, it can't be a good option, right? It can't be a good option, right? I mean,
if we're not playing Cedric, then the second choice for me then is Saka. You got to play Saka there, and then you use a Pepe or a Reece Nelson on the right wing.
Yeah. Norma is correct, but we don't know if that was the situation for tonight.
Well, Mari's going to play unless he's injured. I mean, there's talk about him having a calf strain or something. I don't think he's injured. I think it's just a precaution. But I think he was rested today, so he's going to play the next game on Monday. Mm-hmm. So when he plays the next game on Monday, that whole theory just goes out the window. I'm sick of reading all these Arsenal have no money theories. It's got no base in reality. We've spent the third most amount of money in the last 10 years in England.
And we just took out $150 million.
We do have money. The truth is, he plays.
Spend it poorly. We have loads of money. We spend it poorly.
The next game he plays, he activates a clause where we have to pay $1 million. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, so he's going to play. You're going to tell me. So you're going to tell me because of £1 million, we're not going to play Mari again. That's it. We're not going to see him again.
I don't believe that's.
He's going to get loaned
because that's what they're
out.
saying, right? That's essentially what that theory is saying, which makes no sense.
Yeah,
it makes no sense whatsoever.
The deal. I think that it's $8 million the maximum, and if he can play 80 games for Arsenal, that's a good deal for us because what does he play now? He's up to 10, maybe not even 10.
Yeah, maybe half a dozen or 8 games at this point in time.
Yeah, he's been doing well lately.
They're on a calendar.
He's doing well. He's been playing well lately. I'd like to see him play with Gabriel. I'd like to see them two play
when
together.
he didn't play, I figured that was hopefully what's going to happen in the next game. We get to see both of them together, right? The Gabriel Mari show, just to see how that works because.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean that'd be nice to see. I mean, it was a disappointing game. I mean, that was
disappointing.
We've seen it before. That's the thing. We've seen it before, and that's the thing. We've seen it before.
Starting lineup was disappointing aside from the front four, who I think they are our best 4 players. Maybe Martinelli, you could switch him out for Aubameyang, and those 4. Play a little bit better.
Did you just say our best 4 doesn't include Martinelli?
No.
We need to make Martinelli has to play instead of Aubameyang. There's no doubt.
Yep.
We're a different team with Martinelli.
I mean, Aubameyang can fit in, but he hasn't played that style. He can't keep up with those.
Yeah, guys. I said maybe you can switch out Martinelli.
You said maybe. No, he's definitely out.
Wow, semantics, Gary, semantics.
No, you're trying to, be nice about it. No, it's okay. Aubameyang can sit on the bench and watch this. I mean, that's okay. I mean, the style that he wants to play, that he's been playing, Aubameyang doesn't fit. We've seen it. He doesn't fit in it.
So Alonso, title of this podcast was Law of Averages owes us. And it was either going to be one of 2 ways. The law of averages would kick us in the teeth in terms of us not getting a 5th win in a row, which transpired, or the law of averages in terms of we've had some trouble with Crystal Palace over the last few years.
4 losses in a row.
Numerous draws, a loss on
4
Easter
straight
Sunday.
losses.
Not 4 straight losses. What are you talking about?
4. They said 4 on the TV.
With Crystal Palace? No, we've drawn with them. We probably haven't won in 4 games.
No, I think it's actually 5 now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I haven't won in that.
We lost 1 and we've drawn 4 now.
So you think back of all the problems that they've caused us. Granit Xhaka has had a lot of dealing with Zaha, and it turned out again this evening, Tony.
Yeah. He didn't get a card. I think he probably should have ended up getting a card earlier. And I don't know why everybody was giving him 7 and 8s today. Turned the ball over 3 or 4 times real easy. Passed it straight to Palace. Dribbled it straight to Palace.
A little bit of foreshadowing. I don't think Granit Xhaka is going to get the Don Juan man of the match award.
Well, you know what? He had a really busy day, so that's why he actually looked good. But
Yeah.
you know, he did have some negative plays. But I feel like there was not one person out there who didn't outside of Leno. Leno didn't put a hand or foot wrong today, right? But everybody else, I don't. Who else was close to perfect? We don't get that all the time, but usually we have a game where you just don't even remember their bad plays, but everybody had a bad one today.
Yeah,
So,
Alonso, that's a good point. When you have a game where Granit Xhaka is excelling, that pretty much means that you're having shots against you. You have a lot of play on the edge of our box, around the 30 or 40-yard line. And, Granit Xhaka was busy today.
Yeah, and the good thing about it, he didn't get carded, so which is amazing because he can be erratic sometimes.
He didn't grab anyone's neck either, which is more amazing.
Yeah, but I think that it kind of this is what I think you should give Niles a go at midfield, because I think he's a better partner for Xhaka, where Ceballos just doesn't get it, man. He doesn't add an element that Party does, and I wish that Party would have played today, or at least started, because I didn't see the second half, but yeah, I'm sure Party did it. Bringing on Party that late in the game really hurt. I think that he should have been on much earlier, just in the second half, where he could have made something out of the game, out of him bringing on. So, but I think Xhaka did a good game today, from what I saw, and that's not a bad thing. But I think he's been playing really good since the Chelsea, or since he's been back, and that's not a bad thing. So you got to take it to grain of salt, I guess.
Okay, I was going to go to Tony, but he's covering his ears. Yeah, Tony, it speaks a lot. As Gary said, if we don't notice Hector Bellerin or Granit Xhaka in the lineup, or Willian in the lineup, it means that the other parts of the team are playing well. Today, when we notice Granit Xhaka, it means the rest of the team did not step up or perform well at all, Tony.
Yeah, like Sam said, we started off great the first 20 minutes, and after that, just went to shit. For whatever reason, we can't put 90 minutes together. We haven't all season. I don't know why that is.
First half notes, Tony, Aubameyang has a shot that's saved by the keeper. And on 34 minutes, Hector Bellerin, great piece of defending in the Crystal Palace box, taking the ball away from Lacazette.
That was a sure goal, too.
I mean, I understand he's a wing back, but like I was asking somebody, is he supposed to be that far inside? I mean, he's basically on the half in the middle, is the middle of the field running through, cutting off that pass. Is he supposed to be that far in?
No, because he's a headless chicken.
I forgot who was it. Emile Smith-Rowe made the pass, so I guess he was on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? That pass, he knew that pass wasn't for him, because he just stuck his foot out. Like, if you just look at it, you're like, there's no way you had any intention of putting that ball on goal, because you didn't even know it's coming. You just stuck your leg out, and then like, maybe it wasn't to you, and that was disappointing, because I think that was the. If it was not that Maka was going to get a clean hit on it anyways, but I'd have liked to have seen it. That's all.
Yeah, we definitely would have liked Alexandre Lacazette to have the opportunity to strike that ball, right, Tony?
Yeah, I think it would have went in. Like I said, Bellerin was Crystal Palace's best defender in the first game.
Predictions podcast. Tony's predicting Lacazette will be the leading goal scorer, and he's looking pretty good right now, we got to say. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm looking pretty good for goals against at this point in time.
Yeah.
How many goals did Gary have for Uba?
56.
You're like 30 something, I thought.
Gary does not look impressed.
I did not say. Did I say that?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I said he was gonna. He had like 22 last year. I said we have about 15 this year.
Mm.
If that's what you're saying. Shots,
Well,
goals.
Goals.
Yeah, I
Because
said he
it,
would. I said he would have 15 because I figured Pepe would improve. That hasn't happened. Pepe isn't not improved. He hasn't looked good. So the 30 set goals, I figured the two of those would have combined. We're lucky right now if we're going to get 10, right?
Yeah.
We're lucky.
Yeah.
Right now we're not. I mean, I guess Pepe does have a lot, so maybe 15, but we're
let's
far from where we need to be.
let's get through a few comments here, but just a quick note for Bernd Leno to finish out the first half. A great save, Bernd Leno, and he has his detractors, but he has saved us in some situations as well. Brownie, probably because the players will only be prepared to go out on loan rather than be sold, as the pay will stay the same, whereas Arsenal will pay a percentage of the player's wage if out on loan. Stephen, if you were talking about left backs from the start of the season because Kolasinac wasn't good enough to step in, I'm going to catch up to everybody here. Cedric is supposed to be Premier League ready. Why did we give him a 4-year contract? Great question, Stan.
Very good question.
And maybe we'll get into what they're going to do a little bit later. Structurally, we're going to talk about
Yeah. Well, what's interesting
Pick up
about that is
Taib in the chat. Nice to see you if you're there, if you're still there.
what's interesting about that is Cedric is the one player that has played in the Premier League. Everybody else hasn't. Like a lot of these players haven't been on a team for a long part of time before they got to Arsenal. Outside of the older generation that we picked up. But yeah, it's no.
The assemble continues to befuddle me here. I'd say Mustafi is going to get an improved contract offer. I don't think the assemble believes that.
Can't learn common sense. Unfortunately, you can't.
Now, when Arteta has a pet name or a nickname for a player, he's pretty much likes the player. So when he starts calling him Musty, our Colonel Mustard, Tony, starts calling him
Musty. Jesus,
I would say we can keep Mustafi till the end of the season, but that's it. He's got to go now.
I mean, why? I think I told you in the group chat that we had that leave the spot open. You don't leave it open. Mm-hmm. Whatever spot we have, he doesn't need to be on it. I mean, he doesn't want to be here, so he doesn't have to be here. So don't give him the benefit. Don't even have one of your youth players come up and play if you really need somebody, right?
Put his boots on the wrong feet to help him play better. Needs Maitland Louds. Yeah, Tony agrees with Glenn Kitely about.
He was horrible with the ball.
We have 3 left backs at Cardiff and would happily drive the 3 of them to Arsenal to play reserve team football. Also, some talk about sending Socrates to Liverpool. Brownie will quite happily take them back. Do we not have a single fullback in the academy that looks promising? Evidently not, Stan. Unless anyone knows, jump in. I think Gibbs was the last defender to come through the academy.
He's right.
On the left side, I think I'm not sure we have anyone, but I know on the right side we have a good kid coming through. But it's going to take him a while to get somewhere, I think.
We have plans dealing with player recruitment, and we're going to talk about Richard Garlick a little bit later as well. Such a nice theatrical name, We have clowns dealing with the player recruitment. I bet they're signing up their mates, kids that've never played a game of football in their life, just flagging a living, pretending. All right, so Hector was going for glory. Thought he was Roy of the Rovers.
Bellerin needs to get in the bin. I can't put up with him much longer.
So you haven't seen the latest Hector Bellerin
YouTube video? No. Can we nix any of the XO and HB conversation for the rest of the show?
like HB sauce.
We can say no more.
HB sauce, Alonso.
Just cut him out. I mean, yeah.
I used to have HB sauce with my leftover ham
Oh,
around
man.
Christmas time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
HP,
HP.
isn't it?
You know what?
That was HP, though, wasn't it? Not HP.
Now you sour meat on the sauce. I can't have it anymore. I didn't even think about that. Oh man. All
Go
right.
to Worcester sauce.
There you go.
Hey. Steve Dad and Brownie, everything Arsenal do with contracts to you players going on loan, signing, or trying to sell players, they can't do it. Haven't got a clue. Yeah, so this is kind of a drab game, a 0-0 game, our third draw of the season, and we stay in 11th place. I'll pull this up now. It's I had 1.5%, and we're almost at the halfway stage. Gary, we're almost at the halfway stage of the season. We've only accrued 36% of our target for this season. Let's call it a target.
Well, you know what? The nice thing is, hopefully, is that the league is off too. So, nobody's going to run away with it like they did last year. If we're going on what happened last year, and I think you're going on where teams were last year in certain positions.
Top four. They already say top four was 66 points, so we've gotten 38% of that total right now.
Yeah, and nobody's been able to basically, outside of Liverpool, stay up in that top four spot. I mean, they've all seemed to be getting up there and then dropping down, right? So if that continues to happen, then that gives opportunities to where at least the point total that we need isn't going to be as high as it needs to be, as it's been in the past. So.
You know what I love to see sometimes on Twitter, you see these graphs, Sam, where it shows throughout the season the surge of the teams. There will be a lot of motion if you watch that for the end of this season. All of the teams surging, then receding back. Tottenham were probably winning the league back in November. Not anymore.
Well, I mean, it's still a way to go, but they're just not equipped to win the league. They don't have the depth, and with Mourinho, there's doubts about him as well tactically. Not that I want to talk about Tottenham really, but but yeah, I don't know. They're not going to win the league. They're not going to do that.
So was there anything else of note in the game? 85 minutes, we're talking about Zaha going down in the box. A little bit of a worrying moment for us.
Yeah, it's typical Zaha, isn't he? He likes to dive around, doesn't he? But,
if they didn't give Aubameyang his call, then that one, I'm lucky they didn't. If they didn't give Aubameyang's and they didn't give Zaha's, then I guess they're consistent to some degree. But
yeah.
Well, 93 minutes, Hector Bellerin does block a shot, does do something defensively good. Blocks a shot right at the end from Jordan Ayew. Tony?
Yeah. Renault's couple of good shots is really about the only thing of note in the second half. Other than that, it was a snooze fest.
Yeah.
So that brings us on to the Tony Don Juan Man of the Match.
To me, it probably has to be Leno. I don't know who else really did good enough. Lacazette was pretty good in the first half. Saka had an okay first half, then didn't really appear in the second.
Yeah. Okay, Burn Leno for you.
Yeah.
Gary, in a game where Kieran Tierney's not there, Pablo Marie's not there, you're looking for Emile Smith-Rowe and maybe Saka to step up and be your man in the match. Didn't happen. Roy Hodgson deployed his team quite well to negate those two players in particular. So with all of that being said, who would your Don Juan be?
Yeah, it's only Leno. Like I said, I think he's the only one that actually he had the best game. I don't think he made any mistakes really that I could note. Everybody else did, and I think that part of that is from Newcastle. Part of that is just I don't think we were prepared for what we were going to see. I mean, this isn't something new, but we look like we're not prepared for it. I mean, we have to be pretty clean with the ball. We were so loose on so many passes where we passed it directly to them. and there was no. I don't.
And
There was no rush.
You can't even give the excuse. We had a good few days of rest from Sunday. Or Saturday. When was the last game? Saturday.
Saturday.
We
Yeah.
had almost 5 days of rest.
Yeah.
Alonso, you're man of the match.
That he's frozen.
Sam,
Verizon Wireless.
Verizon Wireless wins it.
Oh man.
Snatches the ball away from Bernd Leno and takes the match ball away.
For
Sam?
me, I'm going to tell you what I think. I can agree with Leno because for me, he was worthy when you look at the performances of the players today. But I think someone who went unnoticed, who actually noticed, did a lot of good things today, which was actually the first time for a long time, really, and that was Ceballos. I think Ceballos had a lot of good passes today. He was actually creating things and moving the ball up the field and linking up quite well with a few of the players. I thought he was looking pretty good today, to be honest. And then he was the one that got taken off, probably because maybe he wasn't 100% match fit, maybe, or something like that. But I was surprised to see him taken off instead of Xhaka, to be honest. I thought Ceballos was much better out of those two, and I thought he had a pretty good game, to be honest. Very, very, very close to being my best player. But it was either him or Leno, so I can go with Leno as well because he had a couple of key saves. That one really good save, and it's actually down to him. You can say that we have the point today and haven't lost, so and a clean sheet So can give Leno the man of the match.
At a time also in the 42nd minute when Arsenal traditionally concede a goal, Bernd Leno stepping up. Alonso, what was your thoughts on the Don Juan man in the match, Alonso?
Yeah, like Sam said, and I'm sure Gary and Tony could agree on that. Leno had a good game. I mean, if it wasn't for him, like you guys said, that we would have had lost maybe. But he hit us in the game, and it was good. It was a point. Well, not good, but of course, we're continuing to win. But I think Leno
better than a defeat, obviously.
Right.
We wanted to get the 3 points to get up to 26 points. Didn't happen.
But it's a team that they always had trouble with for some reason, and so I think Leno kind of shows his worth the past couple games, and I think the center back, Rob Holding, I don't think it's credit he deserves because he's been part of the team too, and so yeah.
Putting in some good performances. Okay, let's swing back around to the starting lineups and Tony, you see the team sheet. Let's look at the central defensive pairing. Pablo Maria, obviously, whether it's a calf strain or not, or Miguel, didn't make the lineup. Gabriel was an unused substitute, right? And David Luiz and Holding get the start. Was this a rotational lineup for you? And was it a good enough rotational central defensive partnership for you?
I would have put Gabriel back in there. He probably should have been fit enough to me. But.
So let's open up this discussion. We had this discussion really about, do you bring your best players back into the team? Or do you let the players who are performing keep their places, right? So we'll start off with Tony. First of all, I'm coming to this myself realization. Now that we have a decent defense, we've rotated from Mustafi and Socrates in previous years to having really good defenders. It's my assertion now, I'm entitled to change my mind at any moment, as Gary will attest to. My assertion now that you should keep your best players and put your best players in defensive positions on the team because you need that good defensive solidity. And the same thing probably goes for midfield. Midfield's a wash for us, right? We probably have the worst midfield in the Premier League. Now, when it comes to the forward positions, I'm going to say players on form should keep their places. I realize that I'm splitting, and I'm being very diplomatic there. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, to me on the defense, you got to play Gabriel. He's best player back there. And on
Eh,
strikers,
And
you play
at, at the
whoever's in
expense
form.
of Rob Holding, who's been playing well, right? He can just drop
Yep.
him, right? Okay.
Yep. Or Louise. I'd drop Louise first. But
Yeah, Louise. Drop Louise.
Gary, what do you think?
Who are? I mean, our two best center backs are who? Aren't they Marie and Gabrielle?
Yep.
I mean, that's an easy one. Gabrielle's was. I mean, the only reason why we looked as good as we did in the first month or two of the season was Gabrielle playing back there, looking kind of solid to me. I believe he started pressing towards the end before he got his red card. Why I don't, maybe it's just the youngsters getting a little frustrated with the way plays going on in front of him. But he's been solid, and he needs to get back into that form we had in the beginning of the season. Can't do that sitting on the bench. He should have played today. I think he should have started. Louise is not. I know we brought him in, but there's no reason for him to play as much as he doesn't. He doesn't need to push Gabrielle to the bench. All right.
Gary, was this the last rotational game that Arteta could have done this? Because we have maybe Newcastle and then Southampton 2 games, and then we have United, which could be a very pivotal game for not only us but the Premier League. And where the title's going to go, I hate to say it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other part. You want Gabriel going into that with not ready to play. I mean, he was able to play pretty much every game, so I would have liked to have him. He hasn't played this week, today, so he's going to play hopefully this weekend. So it'll be it's going to take him maybe a game or two to get sorted out, right? So,
Yeah.
So I feel like he needs.
What would
I think
you do?
players need to play.
Would you have played Gabriel?
I would have. Yeah,
And-
I mean, and then if he needed to come out at halftime, then you do that. The only problem is I don't know if Arteta knows that he can sub at any time in the game. At any time. He doesn't like
It's allowed.
after 30 minutes. If he
Okay.
doesn't like what he sees, he can sub, right?
Yeah.
So it's not, and it doesn't have to be at 60 minutes. It could be at halftime. Get the players come, because think about it. Partey's coming in. He should have gotten at least a half, right? If you're trying to get him back into form,
Yeah.
I think we're killing some of our players with the way that we sub them, especially when they're coming back. This game was not going anywhere. They weren't going to run away from us, and we could push it on them anyway. So you bring him in at halftime. You bring him out at halftime. Let him warm up and play, as opposed to sit for 20 minutes and then try to come in and play. If he is who we think he is, he needs to play. Right? He needs to play.
Samuel's putting some good stuff out here. Ray, we need the best players who make a team, not the best players who are in the team. So, and a good one. Commented a night for me, I think, so far. The man of the match is the ball. We're staying out of our net.
It bounced up against the post, and
Yeah.
Tony Williams not man of the match for not coming on.
Yeah.
He can be the
Yes.
usher as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Bellerin has never been right since he hurt his ovaries. Sam, where do you stand on your best players, Sam? And was this a rotational game? Was this an anomaly to give some of the players a chance to play before we wind up?
It's difficult to say because, according to the information we got, both Kieran Tierney and Pablo Mari were rested as a precautionary measure because they had slight muscular issues.
Yeah. So
I understand perfectly well if that is the truth, that is the case, then you shouldn't be playing them, to risk injury. I understand that. You rest them, and then hopefully that twinge or that tightness goes away for the next game. And then you try again, you play them again. So I understand that. So I think it was a rotation out of necessity, according to the information we got. So basically Murray, couldn't play, the same with Tierney. Now, with the players who started, I am surprised that Gabriel didn't start, because Gabriel, for me, I mean, if he's fit enough to be on the bench,
That's why I
he
look
should
at
be
it.
fit. He should be fit enough to play the game, right? You don't put players on the bench who can't play the game, or else why are you there? Why are you putting someone on the bench if you can't play the football game? So we should always be starting with our best players. That's what I always think. The best available players, if they're fit and available, they need to be starting. So I would have started with both Gabriel and Partey, because if they're fit enough to be on the bench, they're fit enough to start the game. And then if they're having issues, then okay, we can sub them off like Gary said. You know, you are allowed to substitute players at any time. I mean, if they're feeling that this isn't working well or whatever, then okay, we sub them. But we shouldn't have them on the bench if there's issues with their fitness. They shouldn't be on the bench, right? They shouldn't even be in the squad. So that shouldn't be an issue. So they should start, and that gives us the best chance to win the game. Again, Arteta, that's another bit of criticism I had for him is, you know, these are best players who are fit enough to play. You know, they're not playing. You know, again, he's shooting himself in the foot, and you know, it's not good. It's really not good, and they need to play as much as possible, as many games as possible, because every game we play now is very important, because we need to accumulate the most points we can. So as long as they're fit, they need to play. It's as easy as that.
Yeah, this represented another step up in class for me. You know, going from Newcastle and West Brom, stepping up to Crystal Palace, it presented another challenge for us, and we weren't able to overcome this challenge. And that's just what happened, fatally. Alonso, where do you stand? Do you play your best players every week, or do you let the players in form keep their place until injury or suspension or loss of form brings that player in?
So I think that it all depends on the players that are in form, and it may sound kind of messed up to say, because, you know, Gabriel was playing pretty good before he got sent off. But you have Rob Holding, who's been playing pretty good, you know, in the past, since our unbeaten streak, right? So, and then you have Mari, who's been playing lights out for us as well. So why give that up, you know? And, you know, that's just my opinion. And Martinelli shows that he could play.
Do we lose it again?
Losing you.
Injury.
Sorry, Alonso. Okay, Gary. Stan submitted a question to me, and he said, "I'd like to submit a question to the panel for tonight. Thoughts on a rule change of no points for a 0-0 draw?"
I don't think everybody deserves the points for
Interesting. It's it gives you more incentive to score a goal. I get that. You know, it's like there was discussion, I think, a long time ago. They scrapped it, but there was discussion about points. No, I don't think in the Premier League, but it was some league. I can't remember which league it was, but there was a league discussing that you get basically you get I can't remember whether it was 1 or 2 points for a win, but interestingly, the amount of goals you score, you get as extra points.
Mm-hmm.
So say you get, for example, 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, but the amount of goals you score, you get as bonus points. So I thought that was quite an interesting idea, but I don't know. But I'll tell you what, that goalless draw thing, you don't get any points. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting idea, but it's, you know, I don't know. I'm a bit of a traditionalist, really, when it comes to points and football and stuff like that. You know, I mean, sometimes, you know, sometimes it's just about the best. I mean, you think if you're an underdog, you're a team that's a lot, you know, a lot more inferior to the other team you're playing. and the basic, you try really hard, and basically the best you can do go for is a 0-0 draw. That is like a victory, and to then be punished, to be able to get that point and then be punished by not being able to get any points. I think that's a bit unfair in that type of scenario.
Yeah. Okay. And I think there's a lot of merit to that. You don't score a goal,
also, I
you don't
think
get a point.
Yeah, I mean, and also I guess what's the reason behind that, right? What's the reason for taking away that point?
Entertainment.
I know. Well, that's the thing. Is that we do all these things for entertainment, and they don't pan out and stuff. And I don't know. I just feel like that's not the problem with the game right now. So it's not something I think needs to change. As far as taking away a tie, a draw. Because if you're good enough to hold, to keep it even with any team you play, you should get something for it. And that's not the problem with the way things are. I mean, I think it's just it's bad management, but I think sometimes that bad management comes in because of the state of the game, where there's a lot of money involved, and that's kind of tainted the game more than some rules that may open it up a little bit.
I wonder how it would have impacted Jose Mourinho's career. Not
A lot of
0
points.
Yeah, I don't know. This is something that I saw. I don't know if you guys saw this. I was listening to the halftime report, and Tim Howard, the U.S. goalkeeper, was talking, and he was basically saying that Emile Smith-Rowe just didn't look, comfortable in the game as much. It seemed like he said one of the reasons was that Aubameyang's kind of squeezing him out, giving him no freedom there. He didn't seem good on the ball, and that, if you go back and look at the game, you'll see that like a lot of times Emile Smith-Rowe is there, and Aubameyang is kind of squeezing him out, basically still bringing another defender in. So then, voila, next thing you know, you just don't have the space you need to maneuver, and something to be said about that. He should be out on the wings if he's going to play he's the wing. He's out on the wing. He should stay out there, especially when you've got Emile Smith-Rowe in the middle who will distribute it, right? So.
Can I just come with a point?
No.
Arguing Stan's point there is an interesting scenario I just thought about. Is like, for example, say you get down to the last game of the season, and you've got a relegation team that only needs 1 point to stay clear, and they're playing one of the top teams, right? Now that goalless draw would probably be a godsend to them. That 1 point, that would probably be the best they could go for, is not letting the other team score, and you know what it's like. Sometimes that's the best the team can aim for, is to go for that 0-0 draw in a very difficult situation. To punish them that way for being able to accomplish a 0-0 draw and staying up like on the last day or game of the season, that would be pretty harsh if you think of it in that type of scenario. Even though I do see where Stan's coming from, there is a lot of good merit to trying to give teams more incentive to score goals. But sometimes that 0-0 draw is the best you can go for when you're an inferior team. That's like a victory for some teams.
But that rule change would actually discourage teams from the low block and all that good stuff. Tony, question from the assembled, and we'll tie this into the transfer window here right now. We're almost halfway through the month, and we haven't really had much activity. Question: what ingredients do you believe are needed to make a competitive team, hard, etc.? So what characteristics are you looking for in players, and what positions? I'm going to give you three options. What positions would you like to fill as incoming players? And I know we're not going to get three this month.
To me, it's grit and speed.
Grit and speed.
We don't really have much speed on the team, and we don't have much grit. And we need that anybody we get.
And positions you'd like to fill, you'd like to address?
Midfield, striker.
What about a goalkeeper, left back? I'd like to see a goalkeeper, a left back, and a midfielder. myself. We definitely do need a backup goalkeeper. Gary?
Yeah, I mean, as far as type of player, I guess I would like somebody who's seasoned, like you said, somebody who's got that grit, that desire to play. We need. I'm a little surprised it hasn't happened already, but we need that number 2 goalkeeper. We need that number 2 goalkeeper. We need to protect.
We do,
Well,
but he's
injury-
going out on loan somewhere.
No, we don't have a number 2 right now. We have some guy that wears the
Hey.
shirt. They keep putting it on him, but it doesn't fit. You know, the gloves are too big. The shirt is falling off the shoulders. I mean, it doesn't fit. Nothing
I
fits
can't
about
be our
that.
new goalkeeper.
Yeah, but we need somebody to back up. At least it seems now, somebody to back up Kearney and somebody to back up Millswift Row. I think in most of the other spots we have something there, maybe not the right, but we need Millswift Row can't play every game. He's going to need some backup, and Kearney, we need somebody who can do something similar to what he does, and that is, so. Those would be the 3, at least in this time frame, if we're going to do it. That's where I would go.
And this is an interesting comment from Brownie to decide a goalless draw, which would be interesting.
That would be all. There's penalties all the time.
Let's get to Alonso, see if we can get him in here. What positions, Alonso, would you like to fill this transfer window?
I want to get a midfielder probably a defensive midfielder. Party is more centrally, but I want to give a defensive midfielder with leadership a defensive midfielder with leadership qualities.
Leadership qualities,
the one who fights for a club, wears a badge with honor and respect. Backup goalkeeper, and left back. Someone who could play both fullback positions, but someone who doesn't get hurt.
Backup to Ainsley Maitland-Niles, but a better one.
Yeah, right. I mean, just someone who fights for the club. Someone who is an anti-Xhaka. Someone who knows how to tackle, but yet not too aggressive where he gets red card or gets overly aggressive, So a proper midfielder who can do it all, and a backup to Ismail and a goalkeeper, I mean.
Yeah. Did I miss out on anyone?
Me.
Okay, go, Sam.
So where do I start? No,
You got 3 positions.
You got 3, yeah. I mean, the 3 positions, the 3 I'd go for is I'd like to bring in an attacking midfielder who can rotate with Smith Rowe, because I don't want Smith Rowe to be left out. I would like Smith Rowe to be a part of our team going forwards. I think he deserves that. I think it'd be great for Arsenal to have another, youngster come through and be a good player for the club. So it'd be someone who would, could rotate with him and at the same time be like a mentor. I think that would be really good. I also think we need, if we're going for another, we have Maitland-Niles who should be in that role, defensive midfielder or, deep lying midfielder. He can play that role very well, but Arteta's not putting him in there. But going from that we can use him there, I would say I would like to bring in another. I agree with Stan in the chat. I think we need another striker. We need to bring in another striker. I think Aubameyang is seeing his better days. I think Lacazette is too hit and miss. Balogun, listen, we've got a great talent in Balogun, but it doesn't look like he's going to be a part of our future, unfortunately, with all the mess going on there behind the scenes. So I don't think we can really think about him now. So I would love to bring in another striker. I really would. And the third player, we have to have someone on the left side of defence, a left back role who can come in, as a squad player, and do a decent job. at left back when Tierney, unfortunately, he's probably going to need some rotation because I'm a bit worried about Tierney because this is an issue he's had ongoing with his thigh. You know, he gets a tightness in his thigh. You know, all these games, I'm not sure he can handle it. So I think we're gonna see going forwards now. We're gonna need someone who can rotate a bit with Tierney. So I think that's a position we should be looking at more seriously. Yeah, so they're the three positions I would look at right now.
And we need to we have to make a lot of changes to get this team.
But there's a lot more than that we need to do. So
no,
it's a lot more than three.
I mean, 3 to 4 a transfer window would be. I think should be the goal, right? Because we have so many holes to fill. You know, you can't fill them all in one transfer window. Right now, we haven't filled one spot in the first team, right?
Every window it seems to be emergency stakes, Gary.
Yeah, but we haven't brought one player in. Like we brought in a lot of players in the past in January. Aubameyang, right, came in. Cedric and I think Murray also probably came in right mid season, I believe. I mean, we've had a lot of players come in, so they're out there. We might have to spend for it, and I think that's the issue. But if it'll take us a long time to get there if we have to just wait for the summer. And even in the summer, we don't do a decent job there. All right, we spend all summer. This was the summer. This would be halfway through the summer. We'd still be waiting for something.
We have to do a decent job this summer of all summers. We're going to lose a lot of wages. They're going to be called off of the bill. The wage bill is going to be reduced a lot. Darren, thanks for joining us. Darren says we need a right back. I've lost all hope with Ballerina.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a good defender for another team.
Okay,
no, but if you check out Hector Bellerin's YouTube videos, you'll feel a kinship, and you'll feel a lot better about Hector.
Please do not. Please do not direct our fans. Don't direct any of our fans to that. No, Ray, please.
Right.
We want them to come back. So
he needs to start eating meat again.
I'm kidding.
Eating a Kobe steak.
Yeah, you can feel an affinity because he's been at Arsenal since he was 15, something like that. You know, he speaks with the London accent. You know, he's an Arsenal boy. He really is. But unfortunately, you know, when it comes to his abilities on the football pitch, he's just not good enough.
Yep. No,
but you know what he doesn't. He might be a Londoner in the sense of his football academy days, but he doesn't play like he doesn't play like that. Right, he doesn't play like a player that's been going that knows the history of the league that he's in. Right, there's certain things you do in games when you're playing in a Premier League against certain teams. You know, so like if he goes to he's from Spain, right? If it's Barcelona against Real Madrid or not Real Madrid, but two top teams in Spain, they're playing. Those are some big rivalry games. Everybody plays up for those. We have the same games here. Yeah. Nobody even brings their A game to those games. Why? We played in North London Derby, and we got to pull teeth to get people to want to play in that game and play up for it, right? Get hyped for it. That comes, that's what you learn. That's some of the things you learn by being in the academy for so long. Oh my gosh. Oh.
No, yeah. Tanner, are we talking about our new midfielder, Hector Bellerin? No, we're talking about HP Sauce.
Yeah.
Sauce on the right wing.
We said no HP, no.
I thought he was playing for Crystal Palace.
He's that type of HP Sauce that dribbles everywhere. He dribbles inside left, inside right. Dribbles all over your ham sandwich.
This show's going all down.
A bit of HP Sauce is always good with your headless chicken.
Yeah. All right, so listen, Stan brought us seamlessly. Stan, you brought us toward the Balogun conversation with
Balagoin. That's your Irish folk song, isn't it? Balagoin.
Balagoin. It's Balagoin going, gone. And Gary, I think you feel very emotional. Gary, you feel emotional about this Balogun
I
thing.
feel like we've done it again, right? We dropped the ball. We didn't, we're killing the value of our players, and we're getting nothing for it. I mean, this is bad. No, so
HP Sauce, the real thing, not Hector Bellerin. Hector Bellerin. That could be our new nickname there,
Did you
Hector
see
Bellerin.
you see that post
Hector Bellerin.
where it was Florian
Hector
Paligan is maybe he's gonna stay, and it's like, yeah, that's about where we are right now. Can't we get the name right? Now, I why would he stay? What are we doing to show that he should stay here? I don't know. What are we seeing on the field that would be like, all right, this is where I want to stay, and this is where I want to grow and get better?
Yeah, he's looked around, and for whatever reason, to get serious now for a second, he's had all the power. He's waited. He's stalled on this. Him and his agent have all the power, Gary, and they decided that they're going to look around and see what they've got out there, and it does look like it's going to be RB Leipzig.
I mean, we probably pay more than them, right? Even if he goes
Yeah.
I mean, we'll probably pay more than if everybody's paying the going rate, is he going to get more money there? So it can't be about the money. And you know what? It probably never should have been about the money. That sounds like a easy out. I don't want to be here because I need to get $100,000 or $50,000 dollars, pounds, euro, whatever. A week. That's how you get Arsenal off your case when you just put numbers up like that, or any team. So they won out. It's bad. It looks bad on Arsenal, regardless of what the reason is. So because you shouldn't be going for free. You should have been gone already, or.
Yeah. Alonso Stan said HP Sauce, and then coming back in the 70s, it's called Daddy Sauce. You're a very bad man, Stan.
Daddy Sauce.
Alonso, Balogun had Arsenal over a barrel here. Either Arsenal were going to overpay for a talent that we've seen very little of in the team, or he's going to sign him on with another club. And I believe actually we did, for once, we probably have stuck to our guns and we've done the right thing here. I believe it was the agent agitating for the move. And unfortunately, Balogun looks like a really great talent, but we kind of have to let him go, Alonso, in my opinion. What do you think? Or Sam, since Alonso.
Well, I'll take over then. According to all the information we've been getting from the club, from the information we get is that the issue is with the agent. The player would like to stay really, I think Arsenal are willing to let him stay, give him a chance, but the agent, I think, he's looking elsewhere, getting a big money deal for the player and for himself as well. And this is something I don't get. Why, if the player really wants to stay at Arsenal, and he wants to be at Arsenal, and he wants to try to have a career at Arsenal, why doesn't he get rid of his agent and just go with someone else who just can get a deal with Arsenal and stay at Arsenal? I don't get that the agent has more power than the player. I just don't. That doesn't sit right with me. I really can't.
Do you believe that stuff? Do you believe that?
No.
I don't believe anything I've heard so far from anybody. So I don't.
No, exactly. Just that doesn't sit right. Doesn't make sense. So either Balogun wants to go, or he wants so much money. It's just ridiculous. We've been hearing rumours of up to £100,000 for what? What are we going to pay him £100,000 for? Nothing. He hasn't done anything yet. Yes, he's a talent. He's a promising, player. £100,000? Come on. And that's the problem we've had at Arsenal, is we overpay our youth, our young players. We pay them far too much money.
Yeah.
So I agree. If we draw a line in the sand here, we draw a line in the sand.
Yep. You're right, Sam. We do overpay our youth, and as they go through the ranks with Arsenal, we get them up to 350,000.
Well, no, the thing about it, he should have been out on loan.
That's
he should have been out on loan, because he wasn't going to play. Like you go into the beginning of this season, you've got Aubameyang, you've got Lacazette, you got Martinelli, who's planning to be coming back at some point in the year, so he'll be your third striker, right?
Yeah.
So you're pretty sorted with your strikers. He doesn't need to be around, right? He needs to get seasoned and get ready anyway. So what's he hanging around for? Why didn't they put him out on loan? I mean, this is things you do, midway through the last season, right? You're thinking of this, right? If you're doing things right. We are always a transfer window behind or a year behind on everything that we do, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
And and holding I'm holding that holding deal sounds like, to me, is a step in the right direction in the sense that if you want to hold on to your player's value, this is what you have to do. He's coming close to the 2-year window. You pay him, right? You keep him there. If you want to let him go next year, you let him go, and the value has gone up because that's how much it costs you to play him, right? And he doesn't play. He's not a terrible player, right? So he's actually earning his keep per se. But there's other players. I think they're holding on to him too long, and then they don't want to let him go.
So Gary, you said you didn't believe anything that was said previous.
I don't believe any of that because.
What do you believe?
I think Arsenal screwed up. He has control of the situation, so he can ask for whatever he wants. He probably needed to go to Germany anyways, right? What's going on here? Oh, this daddy sauce.
Daddy sauce.
That doesn't look like HP sauce to me, but
Here's my opinion on it is that if Arteta really saw something in Valigan, he would have played him last year in the River League and in League Cup games. And Arteta doesn't seem to get it that these youngsters have something going for them, like a Saka and Moses Rowe, right? So why not put him or bring him along like he did Saka and Moses Rowe? That's what I don't understand. If he sees his verse, and apparently he has a lot of it because he played him against Dunkirk, right? So he's got something going for him, and I don't know.
I mean, at the beginning of the season, Balogun was a question mark as to what we were going to do with him. From the beginning of the season, none of this was an issue. It's like he's a good striker. He's following the footsteps of like Eddie when he came through. And what did we do? We kind of did nothing. He didn't look good when he came on for the U23s. He came on for us for 40 minutes. Looked pretty good. And by that time, I don't know if they, the talks were going and they weren't going. Arsenal messed this one up. And if he leaves and he has a decent career, it's only Arsenal to blame for that.
Well, who do you blame particularly? Do you blame Arteta or do you blame whomever else is in charge of the U23s or what? I mean, he had to have been ready.
Yeah.
He didn't follow the same path that Nketiah followed, going down and on.
Should have signed a contract with him a while ago. We should. Surely there's some kind of plan on when you sign contracts with your players. Yeah. You don't let them get into a position like he's got into now. He should have been signed to a long-term deal a while ago. A year or maybe even 2 ago. He should have been He should be on a long-term deal. They
stunted his growth. Think about what's happened this season.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a player coming up, and I always go back to the whole, when Arteta was in a similar situation as a teenager, going up the ranks and realizing he wanted to make a change, and he did. He just did it himself, right? Did it what was best for him, and it seemed to work as far as where he was able to go and play. He didn't learn anything from that situation because he's letting it happen to these players who find it better off elsewhere than here. And there is no way you get into Arsenal, you get to this part in your career, and it's better to go away from Arsenal. Not if Arsenal is supposed to be this big brand. Not if Arsenal is a big team that has history of winning. You got statues out in front of the stadium. Those people worked for it, but they also weren't they either were brought in or or they've been with the system long enough or whatever it was, right? But if you want to keep that going, you got to keep your talent in house as long as you can. So, yeah, Arsenal dropped the ball on this one. Saliba dropped the ball there. I mean, these are all the future of Arsenal that, hopefully Saliba wants to come back. Hector, when Guendouzi, similar thing. Here's the worst case scenario. Guendouzi doesn't come back and we sell him on the cheap because we want to get him out. That's not good business. He's worth a lot to Hertha Berlin, right?
Mm.
I think he is, based on the little bit that I've seen.
He should be playing for us. Yep. He would fit in. It would fit in really nice together with Partey. If you ask me, he really would. Guendouzi is a really good. He's a really good distribution player. He'll win you the ball as well. He's great. He's great at interceptions, and he'll distribute the ball as well. And for me, it's crazy. It's crazy him at Hertha Berlin. The whole thing is crazy. Again, it's an Arteta issue.
Stephen Dunn said at one point everyone involved wanted to deal with Arsenal except Balogun's agent. Everyone was happy to stay, but his agent isn't having it. I think, Gary, you mentioned Holding, and I think this is an example of the club starting to do one or two things correctly. Getting Rob Holding signed up as a squad player is the right thing to do moving forward to add depth to our centre-back position. Yes, we have to move on about half a dozen of those centre-backs that we have. Right, Tony?
I thought every defensive player gets 4 years deal. Mari, Cedric, Holding.
Only the good-looking ones. Only the good-looking ones, Tony.
Chambers is the best looking one. Look at the locks he's got growing.
Sam, exactly. If he's good enough, he doesn't need that agent. They'll be queued up.
If you see
these agents, honestly, these agents are just ruining everything.
If you see Stan's last comment there, I think. I guess it's the second to last one now that we see on our side here. But I think Arteta has given up on a lot of players a little too soon because guess what? It was a lot of work, right? We always talk about, I've seen on many of a pod, we talk about things not equal, right? Certain players get certain benefits regardless because they're seasoned or whatever, but also certain players you need to work harder for and with, right? So the Guendouzi's, you need to work with him because he is a talent that you need on your side. If he's good enough to go on the French team, he's definitely good enough to play for us, right?
He was one of those players this time last year when Arteta took control of the club for about 8 weeks, Gary. Everyone improved except for Guendouzi, in my opinion.
He wasn't playing. How can you improve when you're not playing?
He had to be playing back then.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of times you don't see players improve. You see them regress because they don't get enough quality time on the field. I mean, Ainsley has been in and out of the lineup forever, and he looked really bad today. He just looked bad today. And is that because of the way the team has prepped him coming in, or is he that bad? He's played a lot better. Yeah.
Cuckoo. Brownie's got that on a macro. I'm sure he has. He's got a macro on a notepad clipboard or something. That's the same comment he pasted every fucking forum he's in. Honestly, Jesus Christ.
Did you bring Brownie to this podcast?
I don't know. I thought we were talking about HP sauce, not brown sauce. But
I think
he brings these same comments to every single chat. I mean, come on, write something different for once.
He's trolling you, Sam. He's trolling you.
He's seen Guendouzi play 3 games? Oh, Jesus Christ!
I think I tagged him in. So blame me.
Well, like I said, he let down Guendouzi. The Saliba thing, I don't think it. I understand the history behind it with some of the the personal things that are going on with him, but I believe he wants to play football. Saliba, I believe he wants to play football.
Saliba, oh god, that's another one.
If he wants to play football, then he needs to play football for Arsenal. Worst case scenario, he needs to go out on loan, and he needs to go out on loan now.
You make a very good point, Gary, that Arteta does give up on players too easily and too quickly.
Yeah, I mean, those are players that we need because we're we need if we're good we spent the money. Either you let them go or you work. You're gonna have to work. This isn't an easy job, right? Especially this is his first time doing it. None of this should be easy for him. He should be working. His hair should be falling out, right? He should be working really hard. This is not an easy job. Not only that, but he's working with a skeleton staff, right? No coach in their first year is doing what he's doing, right? Because they're working under all these different constraints. He's working with less people than ever before. There's no scouting. So everything about this process is bad. He's going to have to work really hard, right? Harder than the players. So then when they see him out there working that hard, guess what? They want to work hard too. But they probably don't see that. I don't know. I'm just guessing with that one. But I feel like he needs to work really hard to get the players on his side and want to play for him. All right. He says they want to come to Arsenal, but once he gets there, they're gonna need to play for him. All right.
Yeah.
They're gonna need to show why they need to play for him.
Mm-hmm.
All
right. We're gonna change the topic here.
The dick lick.
Hopefully,
It's
Tony.
going uphill. This
I
one.
know. Look at this. This is you get this. Oh, come on. This. That's not even his name.
Something like that.
How are we getting? How is he just better this podcast with that name there? That's not his name.
Something like that, right? Well,
That is not his name. That might be his name when he gets here because that's usually what happens when people come to Arsenal. They get a different name when they come. I mean, left-footed pirate or whatever. What do they call him?
Long John Silver.
Long
John Silver. I mean, and then you've got Showside Bob. You've got all these names when you get here. Those weren't their names when they.
Okay.
You already gave him the name. He hasn't even showed up for the first day of the job. We've already given him a nickname.
Hey, Gary,
It's over for him.
All right, Gary.
You forgot Colonel Mustard. You forgot Musty.
We got all
Musty.
We got Musty.
Musty.
Yeah, there you go.
Or is it Misty? Or is it Misty? He's like a porn star.
Which one of those nicknames is a good one?
You got
None
Willow
of them.
Chili.
Got
You
what?
got Doozy. You got Doozy. Doozy. Fucking Doozy.
You got no
He's a
good names.
doozy.
Nothing good behind you. You've already tainted him. He's done.
All right, Gary. What nickname would you give Mr. Dick Garlic?
There's Derek Garlic. Derek, isn't it Derek?
I said the smelly dick because garlic it's got a weird smell, and his name's Richard. So I
Is
mean,
it Richard? Oh, I thought it was Derek.
yeah, it's Richard. Yeah, no, that's why I'm saying he already gave him a nickname. He hasn't even showed up yet.
No.
Ray's calling him dick.
He hasn't
lick
had
right
enough
off the
time to
get-go.
earn. You got to earn your nickname, Ray.
Oh my God.
He hasn't shown us anything yet, and you've already given it to him. See, this is what happens, right? You got to work for things. You got to work for that nickname. Musty didn't come here. He was a World Cup winner when he got here,
Yeah.
and now
Royalty.
he's
Royalty.
little Musty.
And now he's Misty. Musty.
We're in trouble. We're in trouble already. Oh man, this guy's first contract better be the best contract where Arsenal gets everything they want.
I'm not going to tell you what musta means in Swedish, and I'm not going to go there.
Gary, you just made
Don't wanna hear it.
Darren spit out his drink.
Did I do that, or was that just the name of the segment?
Gary, how about Norman? Would that work?
No, we'll just call him Norman.
Or we take
Norman.
Sam. We could do Only Fools and Horses. All right, Dave.
Yeah, Dave. Right,
Oh,
Dave?
Dave.
How you doing, Dave?
Well, if we want to be constructive, I hope this guy's since he's been working for the Premier League, he knows a lot about the ins and outs of this thing. You've seen the best contracts and the worst contracts somehow. Hey, Mom.
Wait,
What's up, Mom?
Gary. You're slow.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah, I hope he has. He knows. We need him yesterday. We don't need him in a few months from now,
Blame him up there.
right?
It was Gary. It wasn't me.
Not him. The one the top left.
Your host.
He started it with that terrible name. You didn't even look. He's put it back up again. No, that's not what we're saying.
The banner.
That is not. You should have had a. You should have had a version 2 of that with the real name.
Well, the thing is, with him, with his background in sports law and negotiations, apparently that's his area of expertise, his contract law and negotiations. So hopefully, going forward now, we're not going to have more terrible situations, where we're giving players far too much or letting them go for nothing and things like that. That's hopefully that direction we should be going now. But we'll have to wait and see because
why would we announce that of a transfer period?
Because we need it. They've been looking to bring in a director of football for a long time. Since not a long time, since Raul left. He needs to be
working on the contracts now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's got contractual. What's it called? Contractual obligations.
But you know what? He's going to take care of all contractual negotiation responsibilities.
We're the Arsenal. Remember that part?
Yeah, but he's got contractual obligations. He's got to, he can't just get out of his contract probably.
And look,
he's a contract expert.
Here's what's going to happen, right? Here's what's going to happen. He's going to come in, look at the holding contract, and then faint.
Yeah, he's going to come in and what? You pay this guy what?
He's like, we have no leverage with any part of this contract. What are we doing?
Wait till he sees how much we pay on under 23s. He's probably going to have a heart attack. We're going to have one of those office defibrillators, ready to go.
I just want to say I hyphenated his last name, but I didn't know the connotations of whatever. It's all my disclaimer.
You started. You didn't even have to. The hyphenation is not the problem. You started really bad and then just went worse, and you didn't even know it. That's like an added bonus.
I didn't know it.
Surprise!
Okay, so
Blame it
listen.
on me.
He's got some experience. He has 2 years with the Premier League, and before that, he has 8 years at West Bromwich Albion, and when they were all the time they were in the Premier League. So, hopefully, Alonso there, he's going to help us to negotiate renewals for players. I think Tanner had said that a couple of players either he wanted nominated to come up next, or we're going to do some business in this next 2 weeks and get desperately needed backup goalkeeper Alonso and someone else.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that he would look at our past and realize how many mistakes we've gotten. Yeah. So, we're going to hope for the best with him. And when he's someone like that, who's stern and who's willing to say yes or no, well, we need someone who could actually help us out instead of just always getting hurt or always seeing a psycho for problems, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm hopeful, but then again, we all have in the past. So, we'll see what happens. And I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic, and let's get to work.
Let's get to work. Tony, do you see the club moving in the right directions now with this acquisition coming in, Tony?
I think it's something we needed. I think we've been thin in the executive board. I think it's help us out. Hopefully we go and get some players we need.
And he's going to oversee football operations, Gary, first team and the academy. He'll be working alongside technical director Edu, Mertesacker, and here we go again, and Arteta.
Yeah, I mean, does Arteta and Edu have a? Do they have a plan for the team from starting from?
They have a plan, but they're not going to tell what it is. It's a secret.
Remains to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, these are the types of things you needed to have when you got the job. right? How is the academy gonna support me with the first team? Right? That's got to be one of the things you talked about when you took the job. So the plan should already be in place. You probably just need him to hopefully execute it, and we'll see. But yeah, it sounds like a good hire, but it just sounds like I just was one of those guys who's just pushing papers and making sure that you missed it. You didn't dot your I or cross your T here, but I don't know. Yeah.
It remains to be seen on the field, right, Gary? We're not gonna know things.
Yeah, does
started.
this help us on the field? I guess is the question. I don't know.
All right. Listen, we'll wind it up pretty soon, but just wanted to say, Tony, I know we said in the last couple of podcasts, it is great to have you back. I know you had a difficult time over the Christmas holiday and New Year's, so great to have you back, and I'm sure a lot of people here will echo that as well.
Stephen missed me.
Stephen did miss you. You know, Stephen, I was personally getting a little bit worried about you because you hadn't dived into the last couple of podcasts.
It's because I wasn't here.
I think
I was back.
I think Arsenal's recent form in winning some games brought alive a couple of Arsenal supporters who had just been beaten down, Gary. We've just been beaten down up until, say, St. Stephen's Day or Boxing Day.
Well, the nice thing is if you look at the table, there's no red next to our, when they put in the how we're trending, all the red is gone. So that's a plus for the last 5 games or matches. So that's a plus. Mm-hmm. So that if we can keep those red marks off of our trends, we'll be okay.
We don't like red X's. We don't like X's.
No.
We don't like gray circles either.
Yeah. Well, we don't. We'll take a gray circle over the red. So.
And right now, Tony is furiously typing up the forum table, and he's going to tell us where we are right now on the forum table, right, Tony?
I would if I wasn't on my iPad.
Sam, how do we see this month going? Listen, we had 3 wins in the league. We won in the FA Cup. I think we're a little bit gassed because of Emile Smith-Rowe emerging with that goal in the FA Cup. It didn't carry over through a somewhat changed or rotated lineup tonight or today, but is a reason to maybe look forward to Newcastle on Monday and possibly bring in some of those stronger players that were on the bench tonight.
I'm hoping Tierney can play. I would really like to see Gabriel play with Pablo Mari in central defence. I really hope we can see that. That would be really exciting. Then it would be great also to see Partey start again in midfield. Come back and start a game. It would be really nice to see. I think that will give us a huge lift. I think that will bring us a lot. We just need to see what these guys up front are doing again now. They need to start firing again. Martinelli, I don't know if he's going to be a bit short. I'd love to see him back because he's so important to that way we play and the cohesion, the chemistry up front, the way he connects with the players is so important. He gives us so much more than what Aubameyang gives. I mean, Aubameyang it's like he's sleepwalking out there. I mean, it's just.
We're 4th in the table.
All right, 4th in the forum table.
That's the one thing to think about it.
He's just a shell of himself, and he shouldn't be playing. Martinelli, he's so, such a different and much better player for us at the moment. So if he's fit, of course, he should come in and play instead of Aubameyang. So we've got to see basically who's fit. And I think if we have everybody fit, this is my point, what I'm trying to get to. If we have everyone fit and we can play everyone, like I'm saying, in their best positions, then I think we can have a good month and get some points. I really do. But, it's just a matter of are these players fit? And then if they're not fit, what is Arteta doing with his lineup and who's playing where? That's what's worrying is as soon as, he has to start changing up things, players get played out of position. We play players who shouldn't be playing and things like that.
Yeah, and like I say here, stage 3 is questionable. So if you've been watching this podcast, stage 1, defensive stability. Stage 2, introduce the young players. I think we've done that in the last few games. But the questionable part of stage 3 is implementing the playing style. And I don't think we're going to get there until we add some players through transfer windows, rotate some players out, and get a playing style drilled into the players that are going to play. Alonso, final thoughts before I go around the house here?
Yeah, I think that what Sam had, said before, I think when healthy, we could we could put on our best 11, and Aubameyang is not part of the best 11. He's on the bench. I think that Martinelli still has a lot to give to the team, and it shows. I just hope that Tierney's injury is not lengthy. I think that he could still make a difference if he is healthy when he plays against Newcastle, Southampton, and Manchester United. I think that they could beat Manchester United. I think that their run recently is overrated. I think it's overhyped. So they had to take advantage. They had to take advantage of what they could bring to the table when healthy. I think that a recent run, just like today, I think we could certainly beat the top teams, and I think we're up for it. But my only concern is that who is Partey's proper partner? Is it Ceballos?
Yeah.
Is it Xhaka? And is it even Enzo Niles, who I think we all wanted to see? And the way Arteta has handled Enzo Niles is kind of unfortunate, because I think we all can agree that his best position is midfield, and he's not taking advantage of that. And I don't know why he doesn't see that. Anyway, I think he is Partey's best partner at midfield, and whether or not Arteta sees that remains to be seen. But I think the left side, the right side, which is Saka, is Saka's best position so far. So, and we'll see what happens. But I think that it'd be a good run of games if Arsenal can win for their own benefit.
Yeah. And look, as host of the show on this podcast, I want to say it's not easy to get excited about a 0-0 draw. There's not. The team didn't show us anything tonight to get enthusiastic about. So we're scratching around for content to fill out here. We're talking about Richard Garlic. We're talking about Balogun. We're talking about Holding. But I think we're coming to whether it's going to be an exciting part of the season. It's definitely an important part of the season. These few games coming up toward the end of the window, it's going to emphasize what we need in the window. We need to get obviously a backup goalkeeper and maybe a left back. Now it's become pretty obvious with Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney not being like 200%. Like he always is on the field. You're gonna miss that kind of player. He's been driving us forward. Stage 3 is questionable. I don't think we'll get there this season. But as long as we solidify stage 1 and stage 2, defensive stability, and keep incorporating the young players and move forward. This is a big month for me. We're stepping up again to Newcastle. I think it's just as notch down from Crystal Palace, so we need to get that win on Monday. Southampton away, the next 2 games, both in the Cup and the League, are going to be difficult. And I want to see our full side out against Manchester United and really cut them down 2 sides. You know what I mean? Tony?
My final thoughts are about the questionable part.
About what?
I said the questionable part or my final thoughts?
And final thoughts in general, just it's not easy to talk about a 0-0 draw. We had 14 draws last season. We're not going to get 14 draws. This is our 3rd draw in the league. no more losses. We got to minimize the losses. We can't lose more than 10 this season in the
Yeah,
league.
draw isn't a bad result. Just the game was boring after halftime. We played good for 20 minutes and we dipped off. It'd be nice to see us play a full 90 minutes, but we seem incapable of it. And
And
to me, do you sell Pepe? Still trying to decide who's more one-footed, me or Pepe.
He definitely is. He definitely is.
Gary,
Brilliant.
Yeah, this is one of those wake up games. What we saw in the last 3 games, or
you can definitely sense our less enthusiasm. We're not as enthusiastic as we have been in the last 3 wins, right?
Well,
It's tough to talk about a
like I said,
build-up draw.
we shouldn't be surprised, but we shouldn't be surprised of how they played against us. But we should be a little disappointed we didn't play a lot better than we could have. I mean, that's the thing. We knew how certain teams are going to play against us, and we have to figure out an answer for that with the players we've got.
Exactly. Gary, he hits the nail on the head, because this is the thing that keeps getting to me is why do we know how these teams are going to play against us. We see them do it all the time. We know how these teams play. Why don't we set up better to counter that, and play better against that? That's what I really find, so disappointing that we know how Crystal Palace are going to play. They're going to play defensive, 2 blocks. They're going to try and, strangle us and make it difficult for us. We've got to set up differently. And the way we started is the way you should play. You play direct. You can't. When teams are lying deep and asking you to break them down, you can't spend all your time on the ball using 4, 5, 6 touches. You just can't do it because they're always going to be in position. The only way you can break a team down is with direct, higher risk passes and 1 or 2 touches, because the faster you play, the less chance they have of getting into position. And that was so effective. The first 20 minutes we were playing like that. It was really effective, apart from us being sloppy in the final third. But we were looking like we were getting into those positions. And then all of a sudden, it changed. It's like, I don't know what it was, whether Hodgson changed his tactics or Arteta decided, he thought maybe we were too sloppy or something. I don't know. But it changed after the 20 minutes when we were actually doing the right thing.
Yeah, and you touched on that, the one touch. Like I said, when I looked at the first half, when we took 2, 3, 4 touches on the ball, we basically just set ourselves up because the defense was going to get solid, move with us. If we're going to swing the ball across the field, and we're dribbling it there, guess what the defense does? They just rotate with us.
Exactly.
Whereas there's one pass that I saw from Xhaka, who crossed it all the way across to Emile Smith Rowe. Emile Smith Rowe crossed in, and that was the pass that HP Saws intercepted. But that came from a Xhaka pass on the other side of the field,
Hector Pallerin.
directly across the field to Emile Smith Rowe, who held it up, went around, and got the shot off, and that's. And actually, that was a one touch because the pass came and he just crossed it. I mean, one touch cross from like 50 yards.
Yeah, I have this. I've actually done quite a lot of football coaching, and when I with my teams, I was always playing direct football with as few touches as possible. And every training session, I'd set them up for at least half an hour, where we were playing with a maximum of 2 touches. That was it. You only had 2 touches on the ball. And it was amazing how after a while they got good at it. They got good at it, and it became very effective. And the one thing for me, I've always been an advocate for this. When you're playing out wide and you get into that wide position where the cross should come, that cross should be coming. That cross should always come on the first touch. Always. Because that is when you have the best chance of the defenders not being in position. And if you have an alert striker and other players, attacking the box, attacking the right areas, you're gonna create an effective goal scoring chance.
Yeah.
But as soon as they stop the ball, control it, take one or two touches, maybe go down towards the byline, and then cross it, they take those extra 2 or 3 seconds, then that's it. The defenders are in position, and it's a completely different, much more difficult task to score. And that's something I've never understood with top level football. Why there's not more that urgency to get it in on the first touch.
And you know what? You said this is one thing, like the play that Leno made, right, where he got his hand on Benteke's header. Same thing. Pass came out on the left side, one touch cross into Benteke's head. The ball gets pushed out, and I think is it Zaha tried to get it back into goal, and it was all one touch. There were 3 touches by Crystal Palace in that whole sequence of play. I mean, we spend too much time on the ball. We like to get our touches up, and that's how we get paid, I guess. So, because we love it. We don't like.
Just to address Tanner there. I mean, yeah, of course he makes a good point, but what I'd like to address is that I mean, if you're talking, if you're looking at attributes of pace, I mean, pace and vision. Pace is something you can train some kind of pace physically, but it's normally a natural attribute if you're fast or not. And vision, vision is something you've got a natural ability for or not. I agree. But when it comes to playing together, that is something you definitely can train up and coach. If you coach teams to play direct and only using a maximum of 2 or maximum of 3 touches, that is when you make that is something when you can create and create an effective style of play. Definitely, you can. The way you play together, that's something you can coach up.
The best Arsenal team that I will ever see.
Exactly.
Was always the counter-attacking team, and we've seen the best Arsenal team. We're going to win things. We're going to win titles, but we're not going to ever see that team again. So be privileged, those who have witnessed it. Listen, I want to give. Tony said I tried to do this outro 13 minutes ago. This is me. Sorry, this is me. The long goodbye is beginning. Gary, you started up something on YouTube.
Yeah, so I started my channel. I posted a little intro video out there, but I want to start weekly putting out some content, and we'll see how that goes. So just some of my thoughts. So after every game, I'm going to try to do that. So you should look out for a video from me in the next day or 2 with some of my thoughts on the game. But yeah, so that's my plan right now, and we'll see how it goes. But I think I'll just be doing videos for now until I get, until I see how my time management works. So
you can be found on YouTube. The WTT, is that correct?
Yep, that's the channel. Right. Yeah.
Go check it out, folks. Cool. Give him a sub. Yeah. Agree or disagree with him in the comments. He'll come right back at you. I know that.
Yeah.
Listen, that has been the Thursday Night Forum. Thanks everyone for watching. Tony, I'm going to close it out. Tony, timekeeper. We've actually gotten some things done tonight. We nominated one of our players to have a nickname, Hector Pellerin. HP Sauce.
HP Sauce, yeah.
All I can think of is Dick Lick.
Yeah, Dick Garlic. Okay. All very innocent stuff. I don't know what we're going to do Sunday, but we'll do something, and we'll be back Sunday. Be more of the same. If you like it, come on back. Until then,
I'm more two-footed than Pepe.
I don't know what he said. Did you hear him, Gary?
I said I'm more two-footed than Pepe.
Definitely. We know that. Oh man.
All right.
Get out there.
Let's not prolong the misery. Alonso, thanks for joining. Sam.
Thanks, guys.
I keep forgetting with Sam. It's always really late there on a Thursday night.
No
He's
worries.
a vampire. That's what I
Yes.
can't see. Coach it. He's got a flashlight.
Don't tell anyone.
Gary and Tony, thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you.
Before you get out of here, hit that like button. If you're new, if you're watching the replay, subscribe, hit the like button. Helps the channel. And we'll
Come on,
be back
carry on
Sunday.
for 20 more seconds.
No, not 24 seconds. We're
You
gonna
got
be here.
17, man. You got 16. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
All right, calm me down, Tony. Calm me down.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, bye,
HB
everyone.
sauce. HB sauce.